Hello and welcome to Fintech Focus TV. I'm Toby and today delighted to be joined by Dave Moonie. Dave, how are you?
I'm well, thank you very much.
Great to see you, mate. So, look, we're going to do a little series of videos here. We're going to be talking about your business, dmaConnect.
Yes.
And a little bit about what you've been doing, 20 years now in the financial services markets. What there isn't to know about sales in the sector isn't worth knowing. But for those of you who haven't seen yet, which I can't believe there's anyone, tell us a little bit about your background and what you're doing at the moment.
So I've been in sales for the past 20 years, as you said, within the capital markets, all within the fintech environment. So I've sold everything from managed network through to trading systems to dealer voice, everything that's in the front office, sort of software and hardware, and worked from everything from huge multinational organisations to small startups. So I've seen the highs and lows in all of those organisations and the challenges and also the excitement as well.
And seen some amazing sales teams. You've worked and led big sales teams. You've also helped as a consultant small sales teams who arrive in this country. I remember speaking to you at Trade Tech in Paris once, and that's where you were there and working with 2 or 3 different companies to help them launch in the UK.
Correct.
So what you've got is an amazing breadth of experience, and you've just started turning that now into helping other people thrive and follow your passion of coaching and developing people.
No, absolutely. You know, I'm a big believer of coaching from my rugby days, and you know, coaching teams, and I've coached a number of teams from men's teams to sort of county level, and both men and women's teams as well. And I see the development that's actually provided to them, and I'm a big believer of the support that helps in improving the individual and the team environment.
Yeah. And you can see that developing through with how you talk about the sales world, and that I always think that sort of link between sport and business is really close, and how high performing teams can get a lot of stuff out of that. But that's another show. What we want to talk about today, and we're going to, as I say, do a number of different episodes of this. The first one to talk about is the whole concept of how people, I think in Mental Health Awareness Week is this week. We're talking a lot about pressure, a lot about stress in the industry, and sales is a stressful environment. And I'd love you to share a little bit of your thoughts about that subject.
No, absolutely. You know, when you sit back after all these years and actually look at sales teams and the sales environments, you understand that it is it's probably one of the most stressful professions to be in. There's a lot of demand that's put on the individual and the team and the management as well to deliver and constantly deliver, whether it's month to month, quarter to quarter, but year on year. And through the individual, there seems to be a lack, I believe, of support around them. And I was reading an article in the Institute of Sales and Marketing, and there was a survey regarding presenteeism. I think it's something like over £15 billion a year is lost on that. And what they mean by that is that people have to be at work. They've got this, they've got a huge workload. They've got huge demands on them. And they try to battle through this on their own, and usually, without actually talking to anybody about that and sharing that burden or challenge that they have or obstacle that they're trying to get through.
Well, it's the hubris sometimes of a salesperson, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't want to show weakness.
And that's the big thing. It is this, with mental health that you see a lot of it. It's very attached to weakness. I look weak, and it's not. And it's something that I believe can be, eased, if not eradicated, by actually having sort of good, coaching in there where people can share to a trusted individual that may or may not be part of the business sort of full time, that allows them to sort of overcome what hurdles they have and maybe to look at things slightly different. And a lot of time with mental health, it's looking at something and realizing that there is a little light at the end of the tunnel, and they just need to maybe take a step away and having somebody they can say, you know, it's not, you know, what do they say, it's okay to be not okay, and it is.
And to break those targets down a little bit. Stress comes from seeing something that seems massive. I think good sales coaching can be about breaking that down and taking a huge issue, a huge target, and making actually sense of it a little bit, and giving people the confidence to say, right, it's a journey of 1,000 steps.
Absolutely. You know, sales is it's a journey. It's something that I use a lot. You know, how do you get from, you know, point A to point B? And very much like a sat nav, there's a multiple ways of actually getting there, and sometimes you have to go right where you believed you was going to go left, and it proves the better way, and you know, and having somebody there to help you go through that journey with them. And it is a journey, you know, that's it. You know, someone links the word coach with, you know, if you think of a coach, it's something that carries people on a journey, and it is a journey. So, you know, with mental health, a lot of things people keep it inside. And as we said, you know, the profession of sales, it's quite a, you know, forceful, very, you know, positive environment that people have, but you know, a lot of those guys have and girls have this doubt of something. You know, you do, it's stress. It's, you know, can I handle this every week? You know, I'm getting in early, going home late. You know, and it's having that sounding board that you can just talk to and not be judged, which is key. And I think the key is there is not being judged. And
it's a no-brainer, right? You know, you have people in there who can help and develop people and spend time coaching with it. Yet there's so many companies there who don't invest in training or development or coaching of their sales teams, and it's kind of become sink or swim. We've heard that. You know, we've heard that phraseology for years in sales: sink or swim. If they do that, bring them in. They've got the opportunity. If they don't like it, we'll move them on, and it becomes very sort of transactional in that sort of sense.
Yes.
And there are people who invest in coaching and see massive benefits from it. So, so give us your thoughts on why people should be investing in coaching, and I think you've got some sort of clarity around this.
Yeah,
as well,
absolutely. I think what you've said there is the key word that you've actually brought up there is investment, and a lot of businesses see training and coaching as an expense. You know, they see it as an expense. They don't see it as an investment within the team, and this is because past experience. It's not their fault. It's just past experience. You know, they've spent money on training, and they're looking for a really good return of investment, like anybody does when they buy any expense. And they don't see it because they just look at the bottom line, and they look at the bottom line and they go, the bottom line isn't improving, and therefore the training session didn't work. And I think that's where the error comes from, and the reason that is, a lot of it is a lack of understanding, and the lack of understanding, one, about, you know, what is training and what is coaching, and it's two different things. You know, training is very much classroom led. It's about a specific skill that we're going to teach you, and you're going to learn from us on what this is. And the three areas that training covers is usually a skill, a sales skill, whatever that may be, whether it's cold calling or account management or negotiation or whatever. It's an actual skill. You can use it for product knowledge, right? We're going to teach you about the latest product that's come on board, and this is what it does, and you're going to write your notes, and this is what it will do, and you will then be more informed when you go out and talk about this. Or it's about internal process. Guys, we're going to talk to you about this system, or this is how you'd like to put the orders through, or whatever that may be. It's an internal process of what happens. So it's very much a teaching environment. Now, where you find people don't get a return of investment is a couple of things. One, they have the one size fits all with training. And I've had this recently where I was talking to an organisation, and they said they've got, you know, a couple of very senior salespeople. They've got a new salesperson that's come in that does new business. They've got sort of 2 or 3 account managers that do more sort of, you know, account management of new people. And they were talking to a training company. They said, "Oh yes, we're coming and we'll give you a training session." On what? You've got a variety of jobs that people do there, or roles that they do. All of them are going to have a different requirement, but you're going to try and fit them into one fits all, and then tick the box that you've done a training session, you've spent money on them, shouldn't they all be grateful? And you know, they are. But then you're sort of looking at, okay, where's my return on investment, and not seeing it. Yeah. Because it wasn't necessarily the right training for the right person. And, you know, when you come to coaching as well, and that's the training, then you go into coaching. Now, coaching is more of it's an individual centric. It's very much one-to-one, and it's about the sales individual working through what they're trying to do. Now, part of that will be their goals. This is what I want to do. I've got to hit this amount of numbers, right? How are we going to go through that? How are you going to get that? What did you do before? What could you do differently? You know, and also about personal development. You know, what have you know, where's your challenges? It could be, look, I don't understand this product enough, or, you know, I'm really not good when I'm trying to sort of negotiate with a client and they try and bait me down. I'll just give in. You know, that's what's been said. Right, okay, let's look at that and how you can help you. So this understands not only what motivates the salesperson, what gets them going, but also about what they need in the training. This will help the organisation to better understand what training sessions to actually put. And it may be that you have 4 or 5 different training sessions and each one goes on a different training session, but when you come back you're going to have a lot more rounded sales team instead of trying to push everybody down the one
I think that's absolutely the case I see a lot of. It's the best, for me, the best training and the best individual management of sales staff comes down to bespoke and tailored stuff. You know, in our industry, we see an awful lot of people who say, this is how, you know, here's a session that we run, and here's another session that we run. And those sessions might be fine, but it's also not the DNA of that particular business. And it isn't necessarily what everyone in that team wants. And when you can dive in on individual issues and you can bring out stuff that suits that particular person, every salesperson's got a different challenge. Everyone's got strengths, everyone's got weaknesses.
Absolutely.
And quite often everyone has different jobs. You know, selling to enterprise or selling to SME is a very different challenges. And I think what you're talking about here is tailoring each individual person with where are your issues, what's your motivation, what's your why, and how can you then bring it back in to give them the formalised training behind it to give them that confidence to then deliver. And confidence comes back to exactly what you're talking about, right?
No, absolutely. And you know, the sales and training should work in partnership. It's not one or the other. You know, I'm not a believer of that. It's both, because, as we said, training is that one-off. So you learn the skill. And we've all been on many training courses over our time. And, you know, if I look back on that, I'd say sort of within a month, 4 to 6 weeks, you've probably forgotten 80% of the training course, and you're probably using about 2% of the training course, if any. Because people go back to their own ways. So what you don't have is any form of sort of accountability of actually of going through. So, you know, and when in coaching, when you're having regular coaching sessions, you know, you do. You have someone who can actually sort of, you know, in a way keep you in check, but in the nicest possible thing. So, you know, what did you get out of the session? You know, what was good about the training? You know, really like this. So, are you going to implement it? Yes. Okay. And then they can follow that up. You know, are you implementing what you said you was going to implement? Are you seeing the benefits of what you said? Yes, I am. And that's where I believe that businesses will see the return of investment. Because what they'll have is the consistency of the follow-up to ensure that their staff who have gone on these training courses are actually using the skills that they've learned and implementing into their day-to-day working environment. And that's where you get, you know, value for money.
So bring that back to the whole concept of mental health and the sort of epidemic we see in the sales world these days. Talk to me about the practical steps that you can help and that companies can help to deliver, because it seems to me that what we're saying here is fear drives the stress, and the stress drives the issues, and that fear is driven by a lack of confidence, a lack of skill, and a lack of ability, and a lack of follow-up support that comes alongside that. Now, what can companies do to really recognise those areas and thrive and help not only have a successful team, but a super motivated, super happy team? Because I think that's the utopia for every business owner, every sales director, is to have a happy, thriving and successful team, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right there. And I think what it is one of them is a little bit of, as I said, understanding the difference, you know, between what is training, what is coaching, and actually looking at that. Yeah. The other one is to look at their sales staff and realise they need to invest in them instead of just doing, you know, just insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and trying to believe that it will change.
Spreadsheet management.
Yeah, but the role of the managements have changed now, you know, and you've seen that as well, Toby, in respect of, you know, the sales manager now spends more time doing spreadsheets and sitting behind his desk and probably internally firefighting and actually being with their sales team. So, you know, what can people do? Now, you know, I believe that they you know, bringing in a coach that can sit down with the team, can help them with what their goals are, how they're planning, understands what motivates them, what's their personal development, where they want to go, but also ensure that there's some consistency there, and they've got somebody they can actually have a chat with. You know, they can have somebody to say, look, been a really bad sort of month this month, things have not gone right. Well, okay, why haven't they? You know, what did you do differently this month that you did that? And, you know, you could find out, well, actually, I didn't have enough meetings or I didn't make enough calls. Right, okay, what can you do to overcome that? Where can we go this? You know, are there some personal issues that they're keeping completely, you know, away from anybody? You know, and the idea is to have this trusted support mechanism now that allows them to just open up, have a chat, and then work through their problems. You know, a lot of businesses turn around and say that's the role of the sales manager, that's the role of the sales director, and in truth,
it's a natural question.
It is, and you know what? They're right. You know, in previous environments, that was it. But sales has changed. The environment had changed. Demands are higher, resources are less. The way that we do business now and the way we manage people, as you said, is very much spreadsheet driven. You know, most businesses, the only thing they're really interested in, you know, it's not their fault, is the bottom line. They want to see it get increasing. They want to see the improvement in there. And it's time, you know, and also there is that fear of being inadequate. It's the fear of, if I open up and say that I'm struggling, at what point will they want to get rid of me? And that goes from the junior in the sales team to the experience, to the sales manager as well, and the sales directors. You know, they've got a very difficult job as well. They're on their own. You know, they've got very limited people to turn to and say, you know, having a bit of a tough time at the moment, whether it's with my team, whether it's with the numbers, whether it's with anything. And they don't really have somebody to talk to say, okay, let's talk this out, me and you. You know, let's find out where you need to be. And sometimes just bouncing ideas off of somebody or being able to open up gives them a different perspective of the problem that they can overcome fully themselves. You know, we're not saying, you know, I do believe that people have it in them. You know, they have the skill set within them. Sometimes it just needs to be tapped in or unleashed, and they can't see that through the demand.
Well, it's being too close to it, isn't it? Sometimes I think, you know, the role of a sales manager will be, you know, familiarity sometimes means that someone else can have a secondary look, and that's why I think actually sometimes different sales managers speaking and spending time with other people's teams can help a lot. It's a separate set of eyes. It's seeing things that you are too close to sometimes. And you're absolutely right. Look, we talked a lot about fear. There's a lot of fear in sales all the time, and you know, are you actually going to go to someone who's your boss and be honest and truthful about where you're at and where your struggles are? And the answer is probably not. The ego of salespeople non-stop and the fear of salespeople. It's one of the two that drive that. But having someone separate, I think, sometimes can get to the truth and allow people to really help move on. And there'll be people here watching that now and thinking, look, with your track record, it'd be good to get involved. How can people get in touch with you to help out on this?
Very easily, either email me on dmooney@dmaConnect.net, go to my website, which is www.dmaConnect.net, or even just go via LinkedIn, you know, send me an email or a request, and happily reach out with you and see where we can go.
Well, we'll tag you into it. David, look, thanks for sharing all of that. I think it's a fascinating subject, and it's great that you're there and being able to help people flourish in their careers. And you couldn't have put it better in the fact that this is a challenging time, full stop, for salespeople, and the stresses and pressures rise every year seemingly. And to actually invest in that and help people thrive, I think is a wonderful thing. So congratulations with it. Thanks for sharing the first part of it. We'll be back very soon to hear more on a couple of other subjects that David's going to be talking about. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching on this episode. See you soon.